Trillions of dollars in federal funding can continue, at least for now. Late today, a federal judge temporarily blocked President Trump's order to freeze federal grant and loan payments from taking effect. The judge's action keeps Trump's policy from taking effect at least until Monday.
Now, but the potential funding freeze sent a wave of panic through agencies nationwide. A lot of them spent today scrambling to figure out how this could impact them. Scripps News correspondent Dan Grossman in the studio to wrap our heads around this one.
So Dan, the pause gives agencies a little more time to try to interpret Trump's order, as if there isn't still a lot of confusion about what is going on. Do we know who exactly is going to be impacted here, and especially once this pause is lifted come Monday, which is just days away?
No, we don't, and that's the thing that has so many people uneasy, because you think about all the programs. We're talking $3 trillion potentially could be cut from this federal assistance funding, and it makes it very difficult for these programs that rely on this money to determine whether or not they will be included in these frees should this stay get lifted. As was mentioned, this stay will be in effect until next Monday, which is when we will learn more about whether or not it will be lifted and everything goes kaput, or whether or not the Trump administration gets to move forward with its plan. But that's the thing that is so difficult, because we're talking about families, we're talking about businesses, we're talking about fire prevention, we're talking about so many issues, and all of these agencies can take a breath for now, but they know that next Monday will determine their fate.
So the White House insists the freeze is necessary to ensure that all the funding going on complies with Trump priorities. So how do they determine what complies with Trump priorities?
It's a long list. So this memo was only 2 pages long, but there's a questionnaire of nearly 52 questions, seeing whether or not the dollars that are appropriated for these various agencies go to things that they feel are congruent with how they want the United States to be. There is a long list of questions, whether or not these monies affect transgender rights, whether it goes towards programs that support LGBTQIA plus initiatives. So it is very difficult. And once these self-audits are then given to these various agencies, the Office of Management and Budget will determine whether or not it is incongruent, and they will determine whether or not that money will still be appropriated to them. The one caveat here is all the agencies, no matter what the effect is, will have the ability to appeal whatever the determination, is.
Almost like reapplying all over again.
Exactly.
And there were several legal challenges to this right away. A lot of lawsuits calling Trump's action reckless, dangerous. These challenges seem to have worked temporarily. But what's going to happen after Monday? Is there any indication of what might come next?
So there's still plenty of lawsuits out there. We had several nonprofits that filed a lawsuit, and there's also 23 states that joined in a lawsuit, Colorado being one of them, saying that what is posited here is unconstitutional. They say that because Congress is the one that appropriated these monies, it should be the only legislative branch that could take it away. They're saying that the president is overstepping his power by doing this. Interestingly, you would assume that all blue states would join in on this. There are 4 swing states that joined in on this legislation as well. We're talking Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, and Wisconsin.
Strange
so there's a lot of people.
Yeah. All right, Dan Grossman, nice work on this. Good having you through tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we're closely following reaction from local lawmakers on how this move would impact all of us in the state if it takes effect next week. Democratic Senator John Hickenlooper saying in a statement today, quote, "What does this mean for Colorado? Funding to our police departments, our rural hospitals, programs for homeless veterans. Nearly 9,000 kids in Colorado Head Start programs may be locked out. Trump is sacrificing working Americans." Meanwhile, Republican Representative Gabe Evans shared a video expressing support for the freeze, despite some unknowns.
I'm supportive of reviewing where our government is too bloated or spending on frivolous initiatives such as DEI. We're waiting on more guidance from the Trump administration on how veterans will be affected. As a military veteran myself, that's a big concern of mine. We also don't know how this will affect student loans or Head Start programs.
And looking closer, Senator Hickenlooper says the pause would also hurt Colorado small businesses. Under the freeze, all Small Business Administration loans would be put on hold. And digging into those numbers, more than 5,000 small businesses in Colorado have already been approved for SBA loans in the past 3 years. And in total, the U.S. SBA provided nearly $38 billion in funding nationwide in fiscal year 2024.